Welcome back. You're watching The Money Show, and if you've just tuned in, let me remind our viewers that today is a very special episode where we are marking the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. We just had a very interesting chat with Naresh Alreja and Shreya Jain, both who have very close relatives who are individuals with special needs. They set the context of what are the ground realities of the requirements, both financially, emotionally, and otherwise, of such individuals. Now, how should you prepare for the same? If you are a parent of a child with special needs who is differently able, what should you do right now with your money, with your finances, to at least aid your child in having a better future, in at least maybe being codependent financially on, codependent on perhaps other support groups, and not just completely dependent, because that really is the worst case scenario. So let me bring on board Chitra Iyer, the CEO of My Financial Advisor. Chitra, thank you so much for joining us on The Money Show. You know, special need kids may come with some challenges, but at the same time, they come with unconditional love, which more than makes up for anything and everything. But Chitra, of course, for such kids, we do want that after us, their financial future is secured. So I would like to start off first with your advice, your tips for all the parents out there who may be watching right now and wondering what's going to happen to my child after my demise. What would you advise them? What are the tips you'd like to give them to start off with, and then we'll delve into the details.
Thanks, Mubina, for having me on the show. Actually, as a parent of a 21-year-old with autism and cerebral palsy, I have, both me and my hubby have experienced exactly the whole, emotion of always wondering and figuring out what is it that's going to happen to our child after us. So that is the biggest concern in every single family's mind today, in terms of how is it that my child is going to, live his life, who is going to take care of him, what about his health concerns, what about, why will anybody even want to take care of my child? These are the biggest issues that face any family. And when we for the first time sat down and tried to figure how much money we would need for us, for these needs, especially for us as long as we are alive, and then most importantly for after we are gone, what is going to be needed for him, we were in complete shock. It took us a while to come to terms to figure out that all of that is doable. We just need to start setting aside time first, sitting down, thinking through what all is needed, writing down those goals, and then working towards it step by step. The biggest mistake that I could say in terms of it, when you're asking me what are the tips that I can tell families, is that people underestimate expenses. Nobody factors in inflation. You think that I have a certain sum of money and that will last me, that's comfortable, that's enough. But nobody is thinking how much is going to be the future value of that need. And therefore, what is it that I need to set aside today to take care of all of that is coming up in the future. Another important thing is health. How am I going to be ready for health related expenses? Right from, getting mediclaims in place, taking care of yourself. Of course, what you do and how you eat and how you exercise, all of that is one part of it. But money wise, anything can happen to you, anything can happen to your child. So keeping aside enough monies to take care of all those needs is a very big priority on the list, I would say. Another very important thing that people tend to neglect is getting decent life insurance plans for the person who is the earning member of the family. We have come across recently also, and we hear about where the earning member, the only earning member of the family passes away, and then the mother is left to fend for the disabled child, and she has to start from scratch, and the monies that are saved up and invested are just not enough, and she needs to fend for herself, for the child, and then think about how much she's going to keep aside for the child later. As you rightly said in the earlier segment, when you were talking to Shreya and Naresh, that we don't have enough schemes in place here in India where there are corpuses set aside as you have abroad for taking care of financial needs of people who are not earning. So we have to fend for ourselves. Today our PPFs and our EPFs might not be enough in terms of setting aside monies for that retirement and for taking care of our special needs child. You need to think differently and actually plan for this as a separate corpus, and we have been repeatedly reaching out to parents to teach them how they can do this. You can start and first get a term plan in place, cover the risk of loss of life. That is absolutely necessary. Please get a simple term plan there. Post that, cover your health and get a decent mediclaim plan in place. Post that, start with saving through SIPs. Start earlier, and please start setting aside monies towards this as a separate need. This is what I would like to tell all the families.
Okay. Now, Chitra, as a parent of a child with special needs, what are the ground realities when it comes to the costs? Because I'm sure that's what a lot of parents as well. I'm talking about medical costs, perhaps, or the day-to-day infrastructure that is required, to support the child, physically, financially, socially as well. So, what are the costs that are involved, and how would it differ from having, a child obviously with no disabilities? And I'm sure having a child with disabilities, the costs involved would be a bit higher.
Yes, absolutely, Mubina. You said it right. Today, when we are thinking about sending our children to special needs schools, or we have to go to therapy centers, as a parent today, I am spending a lot of money for just this kind of specialized schooling, specialized therapies that are needed. The cost could vary from anywhere that is 5,000-6,000 a month to even 40,000-50,000 a month that I am aware of that parents have to pay towards these kind of schooling needs. As the child ages, my child is 21. As the child ages, they go to special needs vocational centers, or since my child is non-verbal and is not able to do pretty much in terms of the vocational space, he still is in a schooling kind of environment where we are teaching him self-help skills, and we are still in the process of making him independent. The costs involved here are of a special educator, of occupational therapists, of speech related therapy, or so many other things that come right from aquatic therapy to music. The special needs parent is trying everything under the sun to see what works for their child. There are diet related therapies involved. There is RDI. There are so many things that keep coming in as in latest interventions that are available for our children, but all of this comes for a real steep cost. So versus any other existing normal family that doesn't have a special needs child, the cost involved here is much higher. Also, your child, when he turns 18, 21 and starts earning and is at a job, you know that he is independent. You might support the child and settle the child till he gets married, she gets married. But for a special needs family, you need to provide for way beyond that. Not only have we to take care of our lives till the age of 90, but also we need to provide for our children who will survive till age 75, 85, you don't know. So you have to provide for corpuses which are much larger than any other situation.
We actually have got one of our viewers joining us right now on the phone line, but very quickly before I go to him, Chitra, interestingly, you mentioned a checklist of investment options that parents should undertake that would go a long way to sort of safeguard the child's financial future. You started off, of course, with a plain vanilla term plan and a health insurance. What else, if you could just share with us in brief, and then we'll take our viewer query, what else should parents invest in?
So the family actually knows exactly what they have to spend. So while you prepare a checklist and you are preparing a list of what are your expenses, you also have to look at what is it that you can save for the future. So here it is a classic financial planning that steps in, where you need to set aside a certain sum as soon as you earn your check or you get your first salary check. When it comes in, please set aside an SIP, start saving in terms of between 25 to 35% of your monies. If you can do that, you need to build up that corpus over a period of time towards so many goals that are going to come up. Your own a family with special needs can also have other children who they need to take care of in terms of education, getting them married, buying a house. So many other goals are already there in place. So apart from providing for the special needs child, you will also need to set aside and invest towards all these needs. While you are regularly doing your PPF and your EPF, you also need to think about how am I going to be setting aside monies via basic mutual funds at least. Please get that started earlier on in life. The earlier you start, compounding sets in, and that is able to help you in beating inflation and getting a decent sum of return for the future.
On that note, we'll take a very short break, but when we return, I will be joined by a very, very special guest whose dhaba and whose cafe rather I hope to visit one day. So don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss this very interesting appointment I have lined up.